What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you guys are new to the channel, do me a favor and hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content that we have coming out. And with this video, we are jumping into Justice League Incarnate, issue number 4 of 5. Now, if you haven't been keeping up with this line, go ahead, check out the link in my description, as well as the top of this video. It is going to get you completely caught up on everything going on with Justice League Incarnate. And you guys are not going to want to miss this issue. This is revealing the darkness on what it is, how it has impacted the Omniverse, and how our Justice League Incarnate might actually be able to stop it. Because we last left off with the battle between Justice League Incarnate and Darkseid, and Dr. Multiverse letting everybody know that Darkseid must win. Be sure to buy the comic, support the industry, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into issue number 4, Dr. Multiverse is giving us narration. Now, some of this information we know, but Dr. Multiverse is also giving us a lot more, giving us a true understanding of where the darkness really originated from and how it is impacting all of their lives even right now. Because in the beginning, there was nothing and everything at the same time. Nothing but a great black canvas. That is until the first sparkle of light. And in an instant, we see the multiverse birthed into existence. And with the birth of this light, this is the beginning of the great pull and push between darkness and light, with it eventually leading to a crisis on Infinite Earths, with Mar-Novu, one of many created by the light to monitor the multiverse, and the Anti-Monitor, one of many cursed by the great darkness to obliterate the multiverse. And when the Monitor gave his life to activate the multiverse's immune system, that is where we saw the first superheroes being born into existence. But even with our heroes being victorious, what was once a vast and infinite multiverse, it all died, giving birth to just one single universe. And with this loss, the light was losing the battle. Eventually, it led to the light making a deal. The light would no longer shine as bright, and the great darkness would slumber and no longer attempt to extinguish that light. And though the two of them had made this pact in the shadows, working through avatars created in this world, the great darkness continued to exert his influence even as he slumbered. And with this, the light and the dark avatars, they all start to be born. Every single one of them unaware of their connection to the larger will. Eventually, all of these attacks, they accumulated in another crisis. And that's where they saw the creation of the New 52. And having the New 52, it was able to help the light from stopping the great darkness from taking everything over, trying to keep it in its slumber for as long as possible. But the great darkness, it was inevitable, just like Darkseid. Because once Darkseid became aware of the existence of the great darkness, Darkseid was instrumental in stopping the Anti-Monitor during the first crisis. Because Darkseid, he understood more than anybody exactly what the great darkness means. It doesn't care about good or evil. It doesn't care about life or death. It simply wants nothing to be everything once more. The darkness wants to extinguish all of the light. There would be nothing. And so Darkseid decided to fight against the great darkness. And so with Darkseid manipulating prophecy, he orchestrated the final crisis. And this is all designed to draw out the great darkness so the god of evil could truly control everything. And though Darkseid was able to succeed, it cost him his life. And as the multiverse was at its weakest, in a moment of lonely silence right before a desperate Hail Mary to save it, with the miracle machine, the great darkness revealed itself. And that is through the first Monitor, and the first one corrupted by the darkness. And with the immune system being activated again, our heroes jumped into action. trying to take on the last Monitor, son of the first, super judge of all evil. With them defeated, the Miracle Machine healed the multiverse. And that's when the Great Darkness finally figured out its true enemy, superheroes. And Earth Zero, it is at the center of everything. The center of the multiverse containing the prime versions of all of our heroes, and variations reverberating out from there. And it even goes as far to let us know that the Great Darkness has spread its influence across the cosmos and found a being of great power, cursing the quantum life form with the task of weakening the heroes of Earth Zero by stealing from their timeline, stealing that time from the multiverse. We know this to be Dr. Manhattan. And elsewhere, the right hand of the Great Darkness, once used to form a truce with the light, it was becoming something new. And that is where we saw the birth of the Empty Hand. And he sent the Gentry out, testing all of the superheroes and all of their capabilities. And though the Super Judge faced off against the Gentry as they invaded the multiverse, only to be corrupted by them and the Great Darkness. With our heroes coming in, they were able to save the last Monitor, and they were able to quarantine Gentry to the universe of Earth 7. But in their quarantine, they have been working with great effort to complete the Oblivion Machine. The Oblivion Machine will erase what the Miracle Machine had done. But while all of this was happening, on Earth Zero, we had the Metal Wars, with the Demon Barbados, avatar of the Great Darkness, with them almost succeeding in taking the universe into the dark multiverse. That was until we saw the rise of the One Who Laughs. And with the rise of the One Who Laughs, our superheroes, they are ultimately able to defeat him. And so now, Earth Zero is no longer at the center. It is replaced by two new Earths, and their universes sharing that spot. The mysterious Elseworld remains undiscovered, while Earth Omega was actually a fragment of the Great Darkness imprisoned in the all-powerful Quintessence. And when the one true Darkseid had killed the Quintessence and seized control of Earth Omega, that's when he used Barry Allen, aka The Flash, to crack open the multiverse. This is all in an attempt to take control of the Great Darkness and to prevent it from doing anything that it wants to do, from taking everything and turning it back into nothing. And that's where Justice League Incarnate comes into play, and they messed up everything. Because now Barry has been pulled into what lies beyond and probably in the clutches of the Great Darkness, while the crack itself has relocated to Earth 8. And the multiverse, it gave her all of these powers to protect and heal the multiverse. It made her just in case something like this happened. And though she hesitated because she didn't want to lock Barry Allen behind the crack, when she went to do it, she still wasn't powerful enough to seal the crack in the multiverse. She is only able to contain it inside of her, and that is only going to be temporary. But the way she sees it, seeing everything in the multiverse that it is showing her, it is that Darkseid must win this day. And that is what Darkseid has been trying to let them know, that no one but him can take on the Great Darkness. That he has been trying to save everything so he can rule over everything. Now, of course, Justice League Incarnate, they don't want to agree with this. They don't want to think that this is a good idea. But the fact of the matter is they don't have a choice. And that becomes even more solidified as we see the armies of Darkseid come through the boom tubes. And so Darkseid gives them the ultimatum. You can either stay here and worry about yourselves, or Justice League Incarnate can join the God of Evil, and we can stop the Great Darkness together. But this is when things begin to go sideways, because something happens to Thomas Wayne, with him almost about to kill Dr. Multiverse. President Superman is able to stop him in time as he begins coughing. Darkness is spilling out of his eyes, because the Great Darkness has grabbed a hold of him. His connection to a fallen reality has made him the perfect vessel for the darkness. and President Superman, he tries to tell Darkseid that this is his friend, that there is still Thomas in there and he can reach him. But Darkseid, he refuses to hear this. Using his Omega beams, he moves them directly around Superman, and we see Thomas Wayne, we see Batman completely eradicated, with nothing more than a pile of dust left over. Thomas Wayne is dead, with Darkseid telling President Superman that no matter the version of Superman, his greatest weakness will always be his connection to humanity, his inability to do what needs to be done, and telling Dr. Multiverse that she no longer needs to hold the crack in her body. We see Darkseid take the crack of the multiverse into his hand, wielding it like a lightning bolt from Zeus. He lets his legions know that now is the time. Now is the time that we take the fight to the empty hand. We go to Earth 7, we draw out the Great Darkness, and we destroy it. And so as all of the legions make their exit, Justice League Incarnate, they sit here completely stunned. A member of their team has just died, and morale is looking hugely low. But after they sit here and they talk for a moment, they convince themselves that they need to go to Earth 7. They need to go find the rest of Justice League Incarnate, because that is where the House of Heroes had crashed down, hoping they may be able to find them, that there might be some members left over. And if their only option is to join Darkseid to take down this great darkness, they are willing to go to that extent. And so that takes us to Earth 7. And the great battle, it has begun. As the forces fight one another, we see Darkseid, he takes the crack in the multiverse and he shoves it into the chest of Empty Hand. And though Darkseid, he had believed that this was going to incinerate him, believing this would wipe him off of the map, Darkseid was mistaken. And what Darkseid has really done is delivered him the final component to the Oblivion machine. And so soon, the Great Darkness will be birthed into the multiverse, and that will reverberate into the entirety of the Omniverse, with the Empty Hand's hand no longer being empty, and Darkseid no longer being a requirement. We see him go to try and stomp out Darkseid. Meanwhile, our Justice League Incarnate, they have made it to the House of Heroes, finding the wreckage, but not finding any heroes left standing. And as they look around, wondering maybe they could be out here somewhere. Maybe they are still alive because we have found no bodies. It doesn't take long for them to find their friends, but their friends have been taken over by the Great Darkness. And this is the beginning of World's End. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Justice League Incarnate has been a very interesting run. And I say that because they really have done a lot of retcons. They are doing their best to try to consolidate all of their stories so everything makes sense. And so the DC Omniverse, as it currently stands, there are two Earths at the center of everything. Earth Omega and this other random Elseworld that we really don't know anything about yet. DC has been keeping that secret, they've been keeping it under locks, but we can assume sometime this year they are gonna drop the bomb on us. But more than anything, what we have learned is that the Great Darkness and the Light, they have been the instruments that have created everything into existence. Almost like the Force, there needs to be a balance. And so when things are out of balance, we see the creation of either more darkness or more light, more heroes or more villains. And this is all in an attempt to keep this very delicate balance that the multiverse, that the Omniverse has been doing. And I also find it very interesting that out of all of the great evils that have ever existed, Darkseid seems to be the only one with the knowledge or understanding that he needs to stop the Great Darkness. Maybe because he's not arrogant enough in believing that he can in fact control the Great Darkness. believing that he can only manipulate it in certain aspects, but knowing that if it gets control, if it gets into the multiverse and the omniverse, then all of them are done. And so I think in next issue, we are definitely going to see the team up of Justice League Incarnate and Darkseid. They are going to be taking on the Empty Hand, the Gentry, the Great Darkness, and it is more than likely going to change the DC Omniverse in some way, shape, or form. And moreover, we're gonna find out, hopefully, where the heck is Barry Allen. He has been missing this entire time, believing that he is with the Great Darkness. And so with one more issue left, man, do I hope that they can freaking nail this. It has so much potential, and the story can branch off in several different directions once we have reached its conclusion. No, I'm not gonna lie, most of DC Comics right now, they're not doing too hot. In my opinion, the writing just isn't that spectacular. But Justice League Incarnate has been an amazing run, and it has huge potential to show us something much greater in this omniverse. But let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you have not yet, please do me a favor, hit that sub button, hit that notification bell, make sure you're not missing any of the awesome content that we have coming out, and until the next breakdown.